Theologians sometimes use the word mystery to describe certain aspects of the Christian faith. The incarnation is a mystery, for example. But when theologians use the term mystery, they don't mean it in the Sherlock Holmes sense of the word, as in a puzzle to be solved or a secret to be discovered. A mystery is a paradoxical truth about God which rational thought could never arrive at on its own, and we could only know through God's self-revelation. The Trinity is a mystery in this sense of the word. The Trinity is a profound mystery, and consequently, there is no perfect analogy for it. No one has figured out how to represent in human terms how God is one single God and, at the same time, three distinct persons. Sometimes people will compare the Trinity to an egg, which is a single thing, and yet has three parts: a shell, a yolk, and a white. This analogy fails, however, in that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are not just three parts of one God, they are three individual persons. Sometimes people use the analogy of water, which is one single substance, but can appear in three distinct forms: ice, liquid, and steam. This analogy fails too, in that the same water can't be ice, liquid, and steam all at the same time, whereas the three persons of the Trinity are not just three different forms of the same God, but three unique persons existing at the same time. All analogies are bound to fail, but there is a way to imagine how something could be both three distinct things and, at the same time, one single thing. Imagine a world that only exists in two dimensions. There is backwards and forwards, left and right, but there is no up or down. The beings of this world are all flat, two-dimensional shapes. They have no knowledge of the third dimension and no frame of reference for conceiving of up or down. Now imagine that a three-dimensional being like myself entered this flat world. Maybe I reached 3 fingers of my hand into it. My hand, of course, is one single thing, but as it enters into the two-dimensional world, what will all of those two-dimensional creatures experience? Won't they perceive it as 3 separate circles? Won't they see them as 3 two-dimensional shapes that are separate and distinct and, as far as they can tell, not attached in any way? But if you or I, who exist in 3 dimensions, were to explain to our two-dimensional friends that these 3 circles really are one single hand, and if they could only get above their two-dimensional world, they would understand how 3 circles are at the exact same time one, wouldn't they respond with something like, "What's up?" Would they even have a frame of reference for making sense of a statement like this, that the 3 circles they clearly see are separate are, at the same time, one single thing? Now, bear in mind that this is not meant as an analogy for the Trinity itself, as much as for how the Trinity is a mystery. If God is the creator of the universe, God must exist in dimensions as further beyond our own as the third dimension is beyond our imaginary two-dimensional world. And although there is no way for three-dimensional beings like us to conceive of how God could be 3 distinct persons and at the same time one single God, it's certainly not a blind leap of faith to accept that God is exactly that. At any rate, after their encounter with Jesus, whom they worshipped as God, this is what the first Christians came to believe: that God is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever.